Hello, everyone. My name is Ron Vincent, and I am the Executive Director of Global Supplier Diversity and Sustainability at Bristol Myers. We are a global biopharmaceutical company whose mission is to discover, develop, and deliver innovative medicines that help patients prevail over serious diseases. Today, we have a great panel to talk about why supplier diversity is important, the impact of diverse suppliers on our supply chains, and most importantly, our communities. But before we get into that, I want to take a few moments to talk about our Supplier Diversity Program at Bristol Myers Squibb and how we are partnering with purpose. We celebrate diverse experiences and the perspectives of all employees, which we believe helps drive innovation to produce transformative results to help us serve millions of patients. This celebration of diverse excellence extends beyond the walls of Bristol Myers Squibb to our suppliers and communities. Diverse suppliers offer rich experiences, agility, drive innovation, and lift communities through job creation, servant leadership, and the pursuit to exceed expectations. By partnering with purpose, we build relationships that are rooted in trust. We understand the transformative impact of connections, and we seek to bring that awareness to our collaborations. We embrace GD&I to address supplier systemic inequities, community inequities, and servicing underrepresented populations. And I want to be clear, this should never be viewed as a handout, but it should be viewed as a hand up, and it's all our responsibilities. Like many of us that are not entrepreneurs, diverse suppliers simply want the opportunity to show their value, earn respect in their field, and deliver for you, the customers. This is why, for me, supply diversity is both business and it's personal. Supply diversity is all about people. It is about sharing resources, broadening perspectives, and when done intentionally, it increases efficiencies and transforms lives. We believe in our ability to build trust and supply chain, and in short, supply diversity is value to the business, brings value to our communities, and value to the BMS culture. Our ecosystem of BMS involves us engaging across various groups such as global diversity and inclusion, our people and business resource groups, which are fantastic and all have full-time leaders to ensure the art of the possible as it relates to inclusion is strategically embedded in our work. We also partner with government affairs, talent acquisition, and various other stakeholders. Today, BMS is implementing Supply Diversity 2.0, a reimagined approach to diversity and focusing on our communities, and you'll hear more about that later. To demonstrate our commitment to impact change, last year, Bristol Myers Squibb and the Bristol Myers Squibb Foundation each committed to spending $150 million toward health inequity and diversity and inclusion. And Supplier Diversity committed to spending $1 billion with diverse suppliers by 2025. And how, you may ask, are we doing that? We are actively expanding our Supply Diversity Program to include our international markets. We are assisting diverse businesses to build capacity and capabilities to sustain by mentoring and providing scholarships to executive business education programs, those facilitated by Northwestern and Dartmouth University. Programs like this provide insights to business owners to build equity, accelerate their business in various stages. BMS also built strong partnerships with advocacy groups such as the Women's Business Enterprise National Council, Disability In, the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, the National Minority Supply Development Council, and the National Veterans-Owned Business Association, and plenty more, both domestically and internationally. We also continue to invest in our award-winning Power to Impact community outreach program to serve underrepresented communities, and will continue to do this work with corporate partners, diverse suppliers, and the CBCF. Now, for what we are here for now, let's get into our panelists. We have two notable panelists in our midst today whose companies are having significant impact not only on their employees and their clients, but think about the communities as well. And BMS is proud to be truly partnering with purpose with the Act One Group and EMSCO Scientific. My first panelist and fellow board member of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation is Janice Bryant Howard, affectionately known as JBH. She's an entrepreneur, an educator, author, mentor, and special presidential appointee. Founder and chief executive officer of the Act One Group. She is the leader of a multi-billion-dollar award-winning international workforce management and technology firm. Over the years, JBH has received numerous accolades for her professional accomplishments, including being featured in Forbes magazine as one of America's richest self-made women. Black Enterprise recognized JBH as the first Black woman to own and operate a billion-dollar company. She was BET's first BET Honors Entrepreneur of the Year and has received the Black Enterprise Business of the Year Award. CNBC has identified her as being a game changer in business and finance, and Ebony Magazine has included JBH in their list of Power 100 most influential African Americans. Her reputation as a well-respected advocate for women and minorities led to JBH's appointment to serve on the board of advisors for the White House Initiative on Historically Black Colleges and Universities. My second panelist is Dr. Patrick Oates, who is the Senior Vice President of Corporate Strategy and Business Development for EMSCO Scientific, a 41-year-old minority enterprise in Philadelphia that sources laboratory supplies, equipment, chemicals, and raw material excipients to the biopharmaceutical and biomedical research sectors. He is in part responsible for the double-digit growth the company has experienced since joining the enterprise in 2015. And because of his extensive experience in the pharmaceutical industry and his tenure in biomedical research and academia, he has established partnerships with some of the world's leading companies and research institutions similar to Bristol Myers Squibb, Merck Inc., and GSK. His achievements include his appointment by the governor of Pennsylvania to the State Board of Drug, Devices, and Cosmetics and the Governor's Advisory Council on Library Development. Dr. Oates has been recognized by the Philadelphia Inquirer as a leading scientist in the city. Dr. Oates has lectured at the University of Pennsylvania College of Nursing, the Pennsylvania State University, and Pierce College. Dr. Oates is also the chairman of the Jackson Minton Scholarship Committee, which has raised over $700,000 in support of African-American males attending the Sidney Kimmel Medical College of Thomas Jefferson University. With that, I welcome both panelists, and we are very excited to have you here. Thank you and welcome. And what I'll do is jump right in to get these questions started. And this question is going to be for both Janice and Dr. Oates, and we'll start with Janice. My first question is, please share a little bit about your company and why supporting Black-owned businesses is important to you and subsequently the community.
Wow, Randu, what an incredible opportunity this is. So thank you. Thank you very much. Act One Group is a global enterprise. We provide employment, workforce management, and procurement solutions, as you mentioned, to a wide range of industries. Fortune 500 organizations, local and mid-market companies are all our customers, as well as the US government. Now, in 1978, I founded the organization, and today we're delivering services in over 32 countries. Over 17,000 clients are a part of our portfolio. We're proud to call BMS one of them, and we have over 2,000 employees worldwide. We're the largest privately held woman and minority-owned workforce management company founded in the United States. And I'm just so proud of of, of the teams who make up this organization. You know, our teams are comprised of not only some of the world's top professionals, they're some of the world's kindest and best people. Together, we're delivering flexible, comprehensive solutions under three distinct verticals: staffing, workforce solutions, and business services. And more, I just pinch myself with excitement and gratitude for each of my team members because, you know, we're not just going through COVID, Rondu, we're growing through it. And this is a testimony to the talent and the humanity of our teams, coupled with our clients' vision and value of who we are. So I just love this opportunity fiercely. And I got to tell you, a little bit more about us is that in July 2018, we signed a contract with Bristol Myers Squibb that today has created work for over 3,600 people in the United States, and we're constantly improving that number. We expanded into the UK this year with job creations growing rapidly. So with a team of 20 professionals dedicated to Bristol Myers Squibb, we're further on the road to engage with over 100 suppliers, creating over 65% diverse supplier spend. That's a lot of money. Now, this is possible because you and Bristol Myers Squibb engage corporate sponsors who are a combination of your procurement, talent acquisition professionals, and strong guidance from DE&I experts. It's further worthy to note that our talent mix in labor categories does expand across IT, clerical, research and development, GPS, commercial ops, corporate services, accounting, and interns. All of these groups are populated for Bristol Myers Squibb, inclusive of Black and diverse talent. And we're planning to expand into Switzerland and Ireland in 2022. That's a lot about us because you're giving a lot to us. And as you said, it's always a hand up and never a handout. So thank you, Rondu, for this opportunity, and to join Patrick, who I so much respect.
Thank you, Janice. And I think, you know, we've all been through a lot the last year plus. And I always often have a saying when things get a little tough, it's either you panic or persevere. And I think the fact that we were able to expand our working relationship with your organization to enter the international marketplace is a testament of really working together collaboratively to persevere. And by way of doing that, we are creating an impact and change abroad. So thank you for your true partnership and your leadership.
Rondu, you know, one big shout out to you, to Farron Melton and Bristol Myers Squibb, your whole team. Not only did you allow us an opportunity to include over 100 suppliers in your program, thereby impacting local communities, Black communities, brown communities, diverse communities, you saw to it that the ability to pay these people through this horrible, horrible season of multiple pandemics was one that they could live with. You looked at contracts, and wherever possible, you allowed our suppliers to be paid ahead of contracted schedules. That kept a lot of people working. And I have to say, because of the type of work they did, it saved a lot of Black lives. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And that is true definition of partnering with purpose. So thank you so much for that. Patrick, same question to you as well. Talk about the organization, IMSCO Scientific, and why that is important to you and the organization for Black individuals.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Rondu. And thank you again for giving me the opportunity to participate in such a very important panel discussion. And I am thrilled to participate and also to serve on the same stage as the legendary Janice Howroyd. So thank you again. IMSCO Scientific is an African-American owned and operated company founded by an African-American woman by the name of Evie Miner in 1980. For over 41 years, we've sourced laboratory supplies and equipment, chemicals, proteins, peptides, and other essential tools used in biopharmaceutical manufacturing and biomedical research. IMSCO has been an essential partner to some of the industry's leading healthcare companies and research institutions, including Bristol Myers Squibb, the University of Pennsylvania, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and others. Because of our long tenure in the industry, our highly valued experience, we've become a trusted, value-added solution to some of our customers' most challenging problems. IMSCO Scientific is a wholly owned subsidiary of Supra Office Solutions. Supra acquired IMSCO just 6 years ago after Evie Miner's retirement. The 4 partners that acquired IMSCO are highly respected African-American business leaders right here in Philadelphia with many years of experience in accounting, finance, business management, and information systems. Supporting businesses like IMSCO Scientific is important because we are committed to providing opportunities to employ men and women of color and to train and empower them to assume roles in the STEM economy. Life science is one of the leading growth sectors in our nation. African-American men and women are poorly represented in its ranks. IMSCO not only employs people of color, but we also support African-American students enrolled in life science programs in high school and in college. We provide scholarship support, internships, and mentorship opportunities. And we've also dedicated and donated thousands of dollars in laboratory supplies and equipment to Cheney University and Lincoln University, both historically Black colleges committed to training African-American researchers and healthcare professionals of tomorrow. IMSCO Scientific is committed to supporting Black businesses and supporting and improving the economy in the disadvantaged community where we've maintained our facility since the company's inception. Our goal is to foster a thriving economy and wealth generation resulting from partnerships with companies like BMS, which serve as a catalyst for change and economic stimulus.
Thank you, Patrick. And I think when you realize the commonalities and the common thread between the Act One group and Janice, you know, yourself and the IMSCO family and Bristol Myers Squibb, is that we all are investing in, minorities in the STEM field. And I think that is super important. So we have the next, Dr. Oates servicing the life sciences and the pharmaceutical spaces. So thank you for all being partners in that journey for equity in the STEM field. So thank you so much for that. So there's a renewed awareness in businesses to lead with diversity and equity in mind. And let me just be very clear on this point. One thing to make commitments is great, round of applause, but the pull through and execution of those commitments is imperative. And we're taking that extremely serious here at Bristol Myers Squibb. So Janice and Patrick, what are some examples of how businesses have helped to create jobs, businesses like BMS and other diverse minority-owned businesses, to make sure that we have people of color in our communities lifted? And Janice, we'll start with you first.
Thanks, Rondu. And it's important, I think, for us first to think on this. White is the only race category that has had a designation since our very first census in 1790. Now, this is important to consider because historically, every added category has been added in response to social, economic, or pandemic conditions such as this. Census processes bear this out, and today, multicultural is the most rapidly changing category. When we consider this, we can then take a fresh eye to equity and equality. Now, equity and equal is related to one, the equal number of jobs for women and men. However, all jobs for men in the C-suite and none are there for women, then you don't have equity, right? If this is the environment. So equity is the quality of what you have. Apples to apples. If I have 5 apples and Johnny has 5 apples, but Johnny's apples are fresh and mine are rotten, I can't get nourished, Johnny can. So understanding that, then organizationally, we must see that equality and equity in the workplace have been addressed in silos. Rondu, in the workplace in general, inclusion can occur from where one is, but not necessarily from where one should be. Think on it this way. I can play baseball on your corporate baseball team as a minority and as a woman, and I can be treated cordially, yet work in your offices and not be advanced corporately. Most reliable data suggests that we're rapidly advancing toward a minority majority workforce, and this is with significant jumps to be witnessed over the next 5 years alone. So even if we consider conservatively that 60% of today's workforce is identifiable as female and 35% plus or minus are minority, companies' payrolls are nowhere aligning with this number. Let's address equity and equality by assuring we do several things. One, we got to look at full data about where one's organization is compared to the company's honest aspiration. And here's where we can set strategies at the free enterprise level. 2, we got to groom for what we want, whether it's through internal apprenticeship and mentor programs or preparatory via some workings with schools, and not just those legacy academic relationships, but non-traditional ones such as community colleges and HBCUs. Shout out for mine, A&T, Aggie Pride. And then 3, Rondu, we've got to hold ourselves accountable everywhere in an organization, because everywhere in an organization that there are metrics considered crucial to an organization's profit and or progress, there is accountability. So awarding on these performance is crucial in an organization's profit and or programs. We've got to be making certain that that accountability is either an award or a punitive one. We pay for what we value. And lastly, let's look at equality and equity in the halls of our organizations and in the supply chains enlisted in both ways. You are supporting the cause and you're reaping the reward. Now, BMS is offering prime examples you're well aware of on how leading with equity as well as equality matters, because it's not just in the workforce, but incredibly so in its supply chains, such as Patrick and me. I got to tell you this, through BMS relationships with NGOs such as Webeing, NGLCC, NMSDC, and others that you've mentioned, I personally know Black, brown, and diverse company owners who've had contracts awarded, scholarships and education occurring, and partnerships between minority companies ourselves are being delivered. My company is an example of several of these outcomes, because you know we've been able to bring over 20 diverse suppliers into your own supply stream. We've improved their revenue through COVID alone by multi-millions of dollars each supplier. And this is bringing Black and brown STEM workers into work streams. And through our relationships with you, we're also making measurable global impact, whether it's through our partner work with entrepreneurship readiness and core STEM development in partnership with HBCUs, or through our United International Community advocacy in support of those programs you and I hold dear, such as MSD UK. I got to tell you one more thing. through significant involvement with BMS's diversity initiatives that include Pride Alliance. We're sponsoring the Women's Engineer virtual recruiting events, one which was held earlier this year. We have specialized EEOC self-disclosure improvement training for all suppliers in our stream. And we're assisting you with your DAWN program, Differently Abled Workplace Network, where we're supporting and creating pathways to work for disabled workers. Now, this is significant to Black and other diverse populations who might not otherwise have had it, Rondu. Their incomes are being improved and their career paths are being created. So intentionally, Black and brown people are being lifted in the tide of your Bristol Myers Squibb procurement. I'd love to see that be a guiding light for other corporations. Your entire procurement team under Farron's leadership and with your own guidance is continuing to look at how to improve already impressive numbers. The bottom line is that working for and with BMS, Act One is able to do well and do good at the same time. And everyone within the communities we touch win with this formula. I thank you for the opportunity to continue doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Janice. And I'm going to pull a couple of nuggets out of what you just said because it was all brilliant stuff. One, that intentionality matters, leadership actions matter, and allyship matters. But most important, when you have all that mixed in the bag, you need to have accountability. And that needs to matter up and down the organization, inside and outside of the organization, for us to have the true collaborative impact that we're trying to have. So thank you so much for that. Patrick.
Well, Janice and Rondu, our relationship with BMS began almost 5 years ago. IMSCO Scientific was given the opportunity to expand its business by partnering with a global distributor to source laboratory supplies and equipment for Bristol Myers Squibb as a tier 1 distributor. We established a tri-party agreement between IMSCO, BMS, and the integrator company to ensure that IMSCO had teeth in the comb and was held to the same performance indicators as the integrator. In addition, BMS challenged IMSCO to identify additional value-added solutions, which led us to provide downpacking services. By repackaging products received from the manufacturer into recyclable bins and delivering those bins to BMS upon request, IMSCO became essential to helping BMS reduce its carbon footprint and enhance its sustainability profile while sourcing tools vital to drug discovery. Because of the mentorship and coaching we've received from BMS, IMSCO Scientific was led to include new services and solutions recommended by the company, including cold storage and biorepository services. This capital investment, these new services and solutions will give us the chance to store biological samples in -80 and -180 degree mechanical and liquid nitrogen freezers. This will enable us to store millions of cells and samples in 2 ml cryo vials while supporting innovative state-of-the-art cell, gene, and oncology research for our life science customers all over the country. In addition, this partnership and BMS's mentorship, along with other corporations, has enabled us to realize our dream to build a new 70,000 square foot facility on 9 acres of land diagonal to the location we've occupied for 41 years. This new office space, warehouse facility, and biorepository will enable us to make an indelible impact on this economically distressed community here in West Philadelphia by offering 50 to 70 new high-paying jobs in life science to members of this disadvantaged and distressed community. Hopefully, this reinvestment in our community will serve as a national model for urban renewal and workforce development.
Thanks a lot, Patrick. And West Philadelphia has gone a long way from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, mentioned it in one of his songs, to the economic vitality that you are driving in that community. So we thank you for that leadership. And again, this is a direct result of collaborations and why these partnerships really, really matter to our diverse communities. So on the final question, I would like to hear your thoughts from both of you again. And we think about the future, and what do you consider to be some of the emerging or long-term challenges that corporations and companies like yourself must deal with in driving business and economic opportunities to Black and other diverse-owned businesses? And then tailor that off with a small piece of advice that you can give those corporations and particularly those Black-owned businesses as we persevere.
Oh, thank you, because this is close to my heart. Over the last couple of years, so much has come to fore, and I've seen you, Farron, all types of leadership and teams collaborating from BMS in the communities to make sure we're looking at this to sustain people through it. Now we're talking about people thriving, not just sustaining. And emerging challenges that both corporations and companies like IMSCO and Act One Group are beginning to face in driving business and economic opportunities to Black and other diverse-owned businesses and communities are hugely and unanimously underpinned by infrastructure and financial education and access. So while visiting my mother in my hometown in Eastern North Carolina recently, we observed COVID protocols, I must add. It was distressingly difficult to host large team meetings or to have dependable continuous connectivity. Access to internet impacts everything: business processes, interactions and growth, education, the delivery of healthcare, right? And emergency provision. So I think we have to look at access to financial and internet entities. That's going to be critical because that's infrastructure, and infrastructure is not there today to the degree it needs to be, nor that it should be. But we've also got to look at income equality and equity. I say and equity because as we've spoken to it, equality and equity is a long-term and rallying challenge. We need to change the quality of opportunities being afforded Black and other diverse businesses. Now, years ago, a dear corporate friend of mine in Chicago said to me, and I wasn't yet JVH, so he said, hey, look, Jens, Act One Group is either going to be critically strategic to us or highly dispensable. Wow, did that hit me? This is pre-COVID, and many of the contracts and jobs that now post-COVID Black people are having are not, before COVID weren't considered critically strategic, even if they were known to be essential. So because we were not living in an emergency state, we were not looked at in that way. During COVID, not only were issues of social and health justice exposed to a glaring degree, but intersectionality of economics with each of these became exposed. We saw it happen a lot, Rondu, with some of our own suppliers as we worked to help them sustain through this. Additionally, on this list of challenges is education and readiness. These are issues in achieving equity, and although certainly not last, intentionality, as we've spoken to, measurably with appropriate compensation, grooming for, and positioning executive and C-suite leadership within our organizations. It has to be leadership that is representative of the ethnic and cultural shifts occurring. That's a must. And whether we do this from a respect for the long permitted atrocities on Black people in this country, or toward an appreciation for the collective growing minority, doing this will allow for an understanding of our employees and our customers, as well as the believability of our values, all to support sustainability of our business through vibrant and inclusive participation and growth. Please allow me to acknowledge one point. Bristol Myers Squibb's support of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation and the many organizations you take stellar positions with across the globe, that is not just allowing you to deliver, develop, and discover innovative medicines, you're also aiding the discovery, development, and delivery of innovative solutions to equity and equality. Thanks, Rhonda, for the work you personally engage in this and for the platform you're giving Patrick and me to speak from. You know, over this last 10 years, I had an impressive contribution to the scholarship of African Americans at HBCU and other institutions. Since our relationship between Act One and Bristol Myers Squibb, I have to tell you that contribution in scholarship has more than doubled. You're making an impact to the people in my company, enabling them to have better sustainable STEM work and leadership opportunities. You're making an impact in the talent communities that we service from across the globe, giving them career paths never before dreamed of, using talent communities in very creative ways that is highly inclusive of diversity, and especially Black and Brown people. But Rhonda, importantly, you're touching health and you're touching hearts. And I'm excited to continue our partnership with you as we journey toward true equality and equity. So thank you so much to Bristol Myers Squibb and to you.
Thank you so much, Janice. I think, it's the purpose work that we love doing because we realize the impact that it's having, and we're going to continue to fight and do that. Dr. Oates.
Thank you again, Rhonda. And I just want to echo Janice's comments. But I like that JBH. I like how she's referred to as JBH. I think from now on, Janice, I'm going to go as PMO. That's going to be my new name, PMO.
Well, in our company, that means project management officer. So, so go PMO.
So, Rhonda, I think it's absolutely essential that Black-owned companies develop strategic goals to provide value and to offer solutions to problems for companies like BMS. Minority companies should be intentional in their efforts to identify opportunities to partner with large companies to at least get their foot in the door. But after getting one's foot in the door, those minority companies should be prepared to stand on its own to foster new business opportunities. Customer service excellence, flexibility, and scientific innovation are core competencies that should be practiced at every turn to ensure customer satisfaction and long-term sustainability. Opportunities like this, from Bristol Myers Squibb through your leadership, Rhonda, and the leadership of Farron Melton and the other senior leaders of Bristol Myers Squibb, have benefited scores of minority-owned companies. And I'm grateful to say that IMSCO Scientific is one of those companies. I look forward to a long and productive relationship and partnership with BMS.
Thank you, Dr. Oates, or PM to the O. Yes, ma'am.
One thing that I think both Dr. Oates and I are talking about is companies, when it comes to supply chain, being highly supportive of that pregnant pivot that Farron Melton taught about over this period. When you look at the spend that Bristol Myers Squibb has with your diverse suppliers, you can bet you that close to a third of it is because you supported companies like ours to engage in a pregnant pivot over this period. And you didn't just support us by allowing us to expand our contracts. You supported us by giving us leadership and escort to achieving that pregnant pivot. So I think, Patrick, that pretty much is a high level challenge that other corporations can learn from in watching how Bristol Myers Squibb is supporting supply chain and delivering success.
And as always, we are ecstatic and excited and welcome the opportunity to collaborate with other organizations, because we want that multiplier and that halo effect to be broad and wide. So thank you both. You've been extremely enjoyable to speak with today. Your nuggets and your insight have been fantastic. And as the audience can see, we can go on about this topic for days, but unfortunately, we must wrap up this session. So without a doubt, there's a huge amount of work ahead for businesses to get where we need to be when it comes to hiring, retaining diverse talent, and partnering with minority suppliers. I am personally encouraged by the current momentum we are seeing to drive lasting and positive change, and the solutions put forward to create a more just and equitable economy. And I encourage all of you in the audience, whether you are an individual or a business, to drive your buying experience with a purpose, to make sure we are taking care of the communities we work and live in. Thank you again for listening to our session today. From Janice and myself, who sit on the board for the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Board, we hope you have the time to listen to more sessions that the amazing team at CBCF have organized to uplift, empower, and mobilize our communities. A few of them are the impact of COVID-19 on Black businesses and money, wealth, and disparity, narrowing the wealth gap. So thank you all. On behalf of Bristol Myers Squibb, it's been a pleasure. Stephanie, Sundari, and my team, thank you for the work that you drive every day, and we'll see you soon. Thank you again.